Hi, this is, okay, are we live now? We're live? Okay, cool. Okay. Hi, this is the Student Commissioner and ASCBC Executive Board Officer Candidate Townhall. So the agenda for tonight is an introduction to your monitors, an overview of the election, and an introduction to the candidates, as well as the candidate questions at the end. So we are your moderators. I'm Ellen Griffin. I go to Poly, and my co-host is Nehemiah Peterson, who attends MIRVA. We're both members of the election committee, and so we're responsible for this election. So this election is just giving student voice in like who represents them. So 9th to 12th graders vote on who they want to be their student commissioner. 6th to 8th graders vote who they want to be their middle school executive. 6th to 12th graders vote for ASCBC president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and chair of diversity committee. So an overview of the positions. A student commissioner is the student who serves on the Baltimore City Board of Student Commissioners, which is responsible for overseeing the entire school district. It gives like school policy rules, approves budgets, and makes other decisions. And so the student commissioner has the same amount of responsibility and almost the same amount of power as the adult commissioners. ASCBC is basically Baltimore's district-wide SGA. It represents students from grades 6 to 12 and all of our like decision-making processes. We get called to consult on all sorts of things on district level policies, from snow days to diversity policies that structure SGA and student-led organizations. We're also like recognized by Maryland State Legislative, and we make a lot of decisions in the bodies for Baltimore City's youth. So our candidates, we have student commissioner candidates, our ASCBC candidates for president, vice president, executive, treasurer, and diversity chair here. They're going to say their name, their grade, the school they go to, and the position they're running for. So we can start in order.
Is that my cue? So, hi,
Yeah.
my name. Okay.
And Nehemiah will be posing the questions to the candidates. So thank you, Ethan, for turning your camera on. And Nehemiah, go ahead and take it from here. And I will just add for anybody, if you are joining from YouTube, you can go ahead and scan that QR code if you'd like to join the live Microsoft Teams event, and you can pose your own questions if you join the live Microsoft Teams event. Sorry for the interruption. Take it away, Nehemiah.
Sorry. So the questions for the candidates. First question is, in your own words, what is the duty of the position that you're running for?
Thank you, Nehemiah. So, yeah, for all those that are just tuning in, my name is Ethan Ablagi. And so for this question, I believe that the duty of being student commissioner is, to provide a strong voice, not only for everyday students for whom, that position stands as the voting representative on the school board, but also just in so many other spaces in which the student commissioner has a voice, and that includes MASC, which is the Maryland Association of Student Councils, of course ASCBC, which students are also voting for these other officers, and that entails taking a lot of difficult votes on district policies. And starting this year, that will also include a vote on the district budget, which, as we know, manages a lot of money for our classrooms. But it also means showing up to events like tonight. I actually couldn't make this the board community forum in favor of our town hall here tonight, but events like that are hosted by the district, just for the public to understand what is going on in the school district and to communicate decisions in a transparent manner to families and parents and educators as well.
Okay. Second question is, what are issues that you currently see within the school board / system, and how do you plan to address them?
Thanks, Nehemiah. So as for the issues that I currently see with the school board and with city schools, of course, there are a lot of equity issues that rest with so many of the things that we do here in the district. And you can see on my platform, some of the ones are listed there. But I think for me, really the most important thing and something that I really see the student commissioner as being able to do is through ensuring that we do look at a lot of these issues equitably in a way that is transparent to students and strengthens engagement with not only students, but also community members and with teachers, and just making sure that as students and also teachers and school staff, who are the people that have to face the decisions that are made by the board and by district leadership in the classroom and in schools every day, that we are consulted and that we are our voices are heard and prioritized in decision making. And that plays into so many different things. So like, for example, on my platform, one thing that I'm really passionate about is extending fee waivers, not only for college applications, but also for the SAT in and outside of school, that is made universal. So yeah, that's just one example. And there are some others listed as well.
Okay, that was time for Ethan's questions. The given questions. But if there aren't any other questions, I think we can go on to the third one, right?
Yes. Given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
That is a really excellent question. And just to provide a quick overview for everyone, there are biweekly meetings for the board that last several hours, like 3 to 9 p.m. sometimes. So that's kind of what we're looking at, as well as some other meetings in between that. So for me, as I have been the appointed interim student commissioner from June until now, this is something that I've already been doing, and it's definitely a lot, but that looks like planning ahead and setting aside all of the notes for items that I might want to take a look at or vote a certain way on ahead of time, and making sure that I have all of my questions for district staff compiled ahead of all the board meetings, typically on the Friday or the Saturday ahead of the Tuesday meetings. That also looks like just being very diligent about managing your work and managing your extracurriculars. And it's very difficult, but it's something that I have been doing so far, and I'm confident that I can continue to do that through the end of the term.
Okay. Thank you, Ethan. Next. Next, we're going to the next candidate, right? Okay. I'm sorry.
I guess we can.
The next candidate is Jameer.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the glare on my camera. I hope you guys can hear me and see me well, but my name is Jameer Lawson. I am a senior musician at Baltimore School for the Arts, and I am running for the role of student commissioner.
Okay. Your first question is, in your own words, what is the duty of the position you're running for?
Thank you. That's a great question. I've been talking to students from all over the district actually about this question. And the three things really that come to mind are positive student advocacy, making sure that we're reaching out to all students across the district, not just student leaders, but students that we wouldn't really hear from. And making sure that we have a positive impact on our district, as well as having an equitable view on our district. So how we vote on policies regarding the school board, and just really showing up for our students.
Okay. Question 2. What are the issues that you currently see within the school board / system, and how do you plan to address them?
Thank you. Another really good question. So lack of communication with everyday students. I talked to some students at Dunbar about this actually, and they didn't know that we had this type of role in our district. They didn't know that they had a voice on things like how they're searched in the morning, or how they learn in the classroom, or what materials can be brought to the classroom to help them learn better. So reaching out to all students in the district, And then school safety is a really, really, really big concern as we enter another school shooting related incident in our district. I feel like we are out of touch. We need to really come together as a district to communicate these issues, and we need to have more of an open platform for people to discuss these issues at school board meetings, and then also making school board meetings more accessible for families who possibly couldn't attend meetings, but also share their concerns. So those are the things that I see right now, and I plan on working with different offices within the district and also working directly with school leaders to come up with a plan on how I, as the student commissioner, can reach their students and how I can use my role effectively to better the district.
Third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities in school?
So I already have a pretty busy schedule at BSA.
10 seconds.
Okay. I already have a pretty busy schedule, and I've been working in student leadership for about 7 years. So I'm really used to long meetings and how to adequately plan and adjust for these meetings. Basically, just doing small things like using my calendar, making sure I prepare for meetings beforehand, and then also using my support system, which will be the ASCBC executive board, and help me and help each other.
I think that's time, but if there's not any more questions, I think you can continue with that one.
Yes. As Haley said in the chat, it would be, I'm genuinely encouraging you guys to ask more questions throughout. So. That's it, right? Or
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Next is Jalil Leverman.
Jalil, are you here? If he's not here right now, we can skip him and then come back to him.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I know that he joined, so he may be having some technical difficulties. We can circle back.
Yeah, okay. So we'll move on to our president candidates.
Next is Brooke Bourne.
Good evening. My name is Brooke Boren. I'm a junior at Western High School. I'm SGA president, and I am also a two-time published poet.
Okay. Your first question is, in your own words, what is the duty of the position you're running for?
In my opinion, fulfilling the role of president of ASCBC means to be the representative for students across the city, advocate for those who can't, for those who don't know how to, and those who are afraid to. I believe that it's also important to set up ASCBC for success without struggle for the next students who believe that they are able to have a voice, and well, not for those who believe they're able to have a voice, but those who are confident enough to now have a voice and use a platform that is willing to support them.
Your second question is, what are the issues that you currently see within the school board / system? How do you plan to address it?
Some issues that I see within the school system is the way that teachers and students communicate. I believe that in order to have a successful school year or academic process is to have a healthy environment. I feel like that some students are overwhelmed and don't have the support that they need in order to succeed. I believe that study halls should be more mandatory, especially within schools. It'll help take off the workload for students who have a lot of work to do, especially for those in AP classes and dual enrollment. And I also believe that this study hall will also give time for teachers to, catch up on some work that was turned in late by students or have more planning time.
Your third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
I plan on planning ahead. I already have a busy schedule within my extracurriculars, my writing, and my schoolwork already, but I know how to plan. That I know that is key. I know how to manage my time, and I believe that if I have what is ahead of time, then I'll be able to move my schedule around in order to give ASCBC my full attention when needed.
Are there any other questions before we move on from anybody listening? Okay. I'm gonna it's cool if we keep moving, right? Or should we wait a little bit more?
We can move ahead. If questions come in the chat and we have time at the end, we could even potentially circle back to all of the candidates. But we can move to our next presidential candidate.
Okay. Thank you, Brooke. Next we have Camille Kofi. Did I mispronounce your last name?
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay, I'm
hi,
sorry.
everyone. I'm Camille. I'm a senior at Poly, and I'm running for president.
In your own words, what is the duty of the position that you're running for?
Yeah, so I think the president has a few complex duties. Some key ones would be presiding over the General Assembly and presiding over executive board meetings, handling and managing communications with district offices, making sure that information is delegated properly to other members of the executive board, and collaborating with members of MASC, the Maryland Association of Student Councils, as well as our student member of the board to ensure that students are being represented in our city.
Okay. Second question is, what are issues that you currently see within the school board / system, and how do you plan to address them?
Yeah, so a few key issues. I think number one for me is communication, making sure that information is distributed equitably and fairly to students, particularly when it comes to ASCBC. I'd like to see more students this year getting involved in the program, more students joining committees, making sure that the student governments at individual schools are dispelling information to their student members and making sure that students, if they are interested in getting involved in an issue, can. Additionally, one big one for me was increasing access to AP honors and electives courses, making sure that every student has equitable access to science and math APs particularly are lacking in the city, and also making sure that students play some role in how curriculum is developed at their school. And finally, a big issue, which I know we talk about quite a lot, is mental health resources for students, not just making sure that all students have fair and equal access to mental health resources, but also making sure that students are playing a role in how mental health resources are developed in the city, making sure that our curriculum, our way of helping students is actually helpful to them by getting their voices involved.
Okay. Third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
Yeah, so I've been on ASCBC for a year now. I'm the outgoing African American diversity liaison. So I've really developed the skill for, balancing my calendar, making sure that everything is in my agenda, and also making sure that, if I have one event, I'm saying no to other events. So I've definitely, over the course of my time at ASCBC, learned to balance, after school meetings and school board meetings with the other school responsibilities that I have. So I think I'm quite adept, and I intend to continue to improve on balancing those responsibilities.
Around 10 seconds left.
Okay, thank you, Camille. If any of you have questions, please put them below in the chat. The next candidate is Shamir Berg.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shamir Berg, and I am a 10th grader at the Baltimore School for the Arts.
Okay. Your first question is, in your own words, what is the duty what is the duty of the position that you're running for?
So I'm running for treasurer, and I think that being part of treasurer is being responsible for and with the funds that ASCBC is given at the beginning of the year to run events, to help its constituents. And I also want to work with those funds to expand them potentially using fundraisers and other possible money acquisition methods uh, like writing grants, for example. And I think all that contributes to an overall idea of creating better experiences and opportunities for students of Baltimore City Public Schools and providing for those with the money that can be acquired and used appropriately.
Okay. Your second question is, what are issues that you currently see with the school board/system, and how do you plan to address them?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of issues that are happening within our school system, within the school board. And I think a lot of really good ones have been mentioned so far by my fellow candidates, my peers. And I want to focus a little bit on the grading system, because I feel like that hasn't been mentioned a lot. Over 50% of grades currently in Baltimore City is a failure. This is not the case in every county and every space in America or around the world. And it's this kind of issue that contributes to the rehabilitation of grades and how hard it is to advance. And with these kinds of issues, whether it be mental health resources, grading, any of this kind of stuff, if I plan to work with the board, with my peers, to lobby the school board, to write out different petitions, that kind of thing, to create a better environment for the students of Baltimore City Public Schools.
Okay. Your third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
Yeah, so I've been the parliamentarian on the ASCBC executive board this past year. So I've already gotten used to this kind of stuff a little bit, to the executive board meetings that happen bi-weekly, right? All this kind of stuff I've started to adjust my schedule. So I already know how to plan for this. I've worked with my teachers and my school administration to be ready, to be able to be free for commitments for ASCBC, and to make sure that I can balance all my work accordingly. I've been working in cohorts with my teachers and my school administration, as well as with our advisor to the ASCBC executive board, and I continue to plan to do this.
Okay. Thank you, Shamir. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're done.
If there are any questions, please put them below in the chat. We'll move on to our next candidate.
Thank you so much.
We have Christiana Diggs next.
Hi, my name is Christiana. I'm a junior at Western High School. I was the treasurer for Western's SGA. I'm a National Honor Society inductee and a Merit Health internship student.
Your first question is, in your own words, what is the duty of the position that you're running for?
To me, ASCBC vice president is someone that assists the president when they aren't able to completely fill their duties, while making sure that every student is heard or seen, no matter if they are in middle or high school, because everyone's voice matters and everyone deserves to be heard.
Okay. Your second question is, what are the issues that you currently see with the school board/system, and how do you plan to address them?
Some issues that I see in the school system would definitely be some schools not being proficient in math. Another thing I would say is resources for children that has special needs or mental health issues. Also being the budget, that if children do not have food or clothing or shelter, schools can kind of provide that. They can have a fundraiser Also, support for teachers, definitely, because there is a teacher shortage, and an outlet for them, because if they are overwhelmed or have difficulty in the classroom, or if they have mental health needs, they can have like an access to those things. To solve these problems for math, I would say more tutor centers, also parent involvement, because that will also help, and also more STEM programs for schools who aren't STEM oriented, more wellness centers in schools for children that have mental health, so students can talk to mental health professionals if they need someone to speak to. And for budget, I would say uh, more on putting money into schools, and then instead of other things that Baltimore City has been putting their money into.
Okay. Your third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
To balance these responsibilities, I plan to utilize Google Spreadsheets. I feel as though that helps me really well when planning out all of my extracurricular activities, coach class if I need to talk to a teacher, anything like that. Also, I would add like durations on times. If I need to do this, I go to that, and then I can just get everything done. All my responsibilities, I can have them already down, and I will manage my time well.
Okay. Thank you, Christiana. If you have any questions, please put them below in the chat. On to our next candidate. Seda Irvin.
Hello, I'm Seda Irvin. I'm a senior at Baltimore City College, and I've been ASCBC treasurer for the last year, and I'm running for ASCBC vice president.
Okay. Your first question is, in your own words, what is the duty of the position that you're running for?
In my opinion, the duties of the vice president are first to like be the president when the president isn't there, but also to plan the general assemblies, which I've done for the past year, to be a liaison between ASCBC and all of the schools in like the ASCBC General Assembly, to like supervise enactment of like legislation that we pass at the General Assembly, and to like be one of the people that helps in making new high schools part of the General Assembly, like who aren't currently. Basically, any and all things SGA related specifically, I think that's what the vice president needs to be doing. I also think that they should be up to date on like what the president's doing, so that we can effectively back them up.
Okay. So your second question is, what are issues that you currently see within the school board/system, and how do you plan to address them?
For me, the biggest thing is the availability slash like how informed people are of the mental health resources at their school. For the past year, I participated in this research opportunity with TU Boulder, where we looked at BCPSS, like mental health stuff, and it was really below like what it should be. And I think that's one of the major things we need to fix, especially since can't like we can't expect students to be performing at 100% or to be giving the test scores we want them to give or any of those things if you're not aiding them in their mental health and making sure that they are mentally safe in schools. So I think that is by far the biggest thing that we need to be talking about.
Okay. Your third question. Given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
I've been doing ASCBC for the past year, along with all of my extracurriculars that I'm doing this year. And I think I've barely missed any of the exec board meetings. I am a lover of Google Calendar. My Google Calendar is booked I was actually just telling my sister that if she wanted to hang out with me, she has to tell me 2 weeks in advance so I could put it on the calendar. But I think that utilizing Google Calendar, making sure that if I have things to do, I'm scheduling them for days that are not Tuesdays, and making sure that I can get home in time for General Assembly meetings, which I chair, or the exec board meetings, either of those things. That's how I have been balancing it so far.
Okay, thank you, Seda. If anybody has any questions, please put them below in the chat. On to our next candidate. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the last part of your name. So, Laura,
Hi, my name is Laura Lopez-Ochicale. I am in 6th grade at Commodore John Rogers, and I will be running for middle school executive.
okay. Your first question is, in your own words, what is the duty of the position that you're running for?
The duty of middle school executive for me personally is to encourage more middle schools to get involved in anything that's SGA related, so such as joining their SGA at their own school or making an SGA at their own school, and just getting involved in ASCBC if they're interested. And to also encourage them to create any extracurricular, to add any extracurricular to the school of their liking.
Okay. Your second question is, what are the issues that you currently see with the school board/system, and how do you plan to address them?
I've seen that most schools have like language learning classes, and I've noticed that most of them are Spanish classes. So I would like for schools to be more open-minded and hear their students. So as the ASCBC middle school executive, I would like to advocate for middle schools to hear their students' voices and hear them and let students choose what they want to learn about. And also school safety. I've noticed and read that right now in Baltimore, the shooting rates or the fire rates are very high. So I would also like to advocate for schools to have better safety rules and make sure that students are safe where they're at while learning.
Okay. Your third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
I've never really had time with time. I've never had any problems with time commitment before. But what I usually do is use calendars to be ahead of any events I'm in. So I'm in robotics, I'm in extracurriculars such as choir and bands. So I usually use calendars to be ahead of my events or meetings. And I also usually talk, if I have events at the same day and same time, I usually talk with my teachers and try to make them understand the situation I'm in, and just talk it out with them. But I've usually been able to cope with being in different activities.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. On to our next candidate. Okay. Next is Jasmine Blessed.
Hi, I'm Jason Blessed. I am in the 11th grade and I attend Patterson. Yes.
I'm sorry, first, I mispronounced your name. I apologize. Your first question is, in your own words, what is the duty of your position that you're running for?
Okay, so I'm running for the chair of the diversity committee, and in my opinion, I think the duty for my position is to help make policies that focus on diversity, inclusivity, and equity in Baltimore City schools.
Okay. Your second question is, what are the issues that you currently see with the school board/system, and how do you plan to address them?
So issues that I currently see with the school system and the school board system is that I feel like we lack acknowledging how diverse our city is. I also feel like the communication for school clubs is not good at all. like I didn't know about ASCBC from my school. Also, my SGA didn't know about. No one knew about because it was so bad. Also, seeing students with special learning plans not being fully supported the way that they need. And I feel like another thing I see is like many schools don't celebrate cultures like they should. And the biggest thing I see is that we don't have enough equity in all of our schools so we can be successful as a district. I plan to address these issues by making it mandatory that every school have culture night or Hispanic Heritage Night or Black Culture Night. Like every school should have it regardless if your school isn't as diverse, because it'll just make us more aware about everything and everyone will feel welcome. Another thing I plan to do is try and bring up the issue of high school choice, because I feel as though it creates a big barrier for the equity issue. And I feel like in order to succeed as a district, every school should have the same resources. Every school should have the same classes. No school should be compared to another because each school has different backgrounds and things like that. So yes, those are things.
Your third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
So I'm in a lot of clubs and I'm fully committed to all of them. So if there is an issue, like if it's an in-school issue with band and theater, I'll talk to one of the teachers. Also, I would say this is my second priority. School and grades is number one, but this is my second priority. So I will make sure I will always have time for any meetings I need to go to, even if it comes down to dropping a club, which I can do. Then I will also do that as well.
Okay. Thank you, Jason A. We will now move to our next candidate.
Thank you.
I do not believe there is the next candidate. So this is like more of an open floor for you guys for questions. Sorry. Oh wait, no, hold up. Jalil never went. Can we go back to Jalil?
Yes. Now to our next candidate, Jalil Liverman.
Okay, hold up.
Hello, thank you. My name is Jalil Liverman, and I'm running for student commissioner.
Okay. The first question is, in your own words, what is the duty of the position you're running for?
The duty of student commissioner is to support and advocate for the voice of Baltimore City scholars, to make their points heard and help make changes for them based on their voices.
Okay. Your second question is, what are the issues that you currently see within the school board / system, and how do you plan to address them?
Okay. I see the school board as learning backwards. The school seems to only be training students to trade time for money, stripping students from being creative and being unique, ultimately stopping them from making change. The first thing I will do is address the problem, then create a system that allows scholars to learn and strive academically, but most importantly, to be themselves, not someone who's playing a role that they don't even want to be part of.
Okay. Your third question is, given the time commitment, how do you plan to balance these responsibilities and school?
Okay. I commit myself to keeping my time and schedule on track by using planning technology such as calendar, notes, and having my alarm. When it comes to school performance, I continue to fulfill requirements, the academic requirements in P-Tech at Digital Harbor. I complete all my assignments on time, so no homework.
Okay. Thank you, Jalil. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat. And that's all the candidates, correct? Okay.
And thank you again.
Since we have 20 minutes left, we can go through like the Nehemiah's extra questions pulled up, and we can just go off like in the same order, if you're okay with that.
Yes. Sorry, I'm gonna have to have my camera off of this. Wait, is my camera still on?
Your camera's on
Okay,
right now.
Okay. So are we just doing this in order still?
Yeah.
Okay. The first person, if I'm correct, was Ethan. So, describe your past leadership / SGA experience.
Sure, yeah, I'm happy to do that. So my experience in SGA actually goes all the way back to middle school, when I served on a team of students that went to Annapolis to testify for the Blueprint for Maryland Schools. And as a poly student, I have always been involved in student advocacy work, but I joined ASCBC in my sophomore year as treasurer, and then successfully ran to be president of ASCBC in my junior year, that being last year. And then this past June, I was appointed by the ASCBC Executive Board to be interim student commissioner. So my SGA experience extends at both the middle and high school levels, and at both the school and district level, in a variety of different positions. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay. What are your reasons for running?
So my reasons for running for student commissioner are that I think that in this moment, especially as for the first time ever, we are having such a critical election where we're hoping to really bring in a lot of new students citywide, and also where for the first time our student commissioner is going to have such an important role on the board to an extent that it hasn't in the past, with a vote on our all-encompassing district budget, with a vote on a lot of these decisions. I think that it's really important that we offer students that are going to be voting not only a variety of options, which I think me and the other folks running for this position are doing, but also people that have diversity of experiences. And for me, not only having built and led several student advocacy organizations such as Baltimore Student Union and several other ones at my school, in addition to my extensive SGA experience, and the fact that for the last 3 months I have been attending the board meetings and fulfilling this role on an interim basis, I feel that I am uniquely suited to carry out this role for the rest of the term, and that's the reason why I'm running, just to make sure that students have choices that are representative of them and their needs in this moment.
Okay. Thank you, Ethan. On to our next candidate. Okay. Jameer. Your first question is wait, hold on. Describe your past leadership / SGA experience.
Can you guys see me?
I just see a black screen. Oh, now it's
Okay, thank you. So can you restate the question? Sorry.
I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Describe your past leadership / SGA experience.
So my SGA experience started in elementary school, where I was elected fifth grade class president, and I worked with my elementary school to build a safe and better safety program, where we had school safeties around the school to help with dismissal and school safety procedures in general. Then I went to my middle school where I was SGA vice president my seventh grade year, and then my 8th grade year, which was unfortunately cut short. I was president of our SGA, and there I worked with my school to build a better school community outreach plan and to improve our fine arts. Then I came to high school, Baltimore School for the Arts, and our SGA is fairly new. So I began my SGA experience at BSA my 11th grade year, where I was music representative, and I represented the music department in foundation meetings and board meetings to our school administration. And now currently, I serve as one of the presidents of my school's SGA, where I've helped made a mentoring program for the entire school, bringing new traditions to BSA that we wouldn't see at an art school, and to also improve school communication and safety plans there as well. So I have a wide variety of SGA experiences as well as community engagement experiences. Um, yeah. And I'm also actually just recently got asked by the Great Schools Council to join them at the conference in San Diego, where I'll be speaking on behalf of Baltimore City Public School students. In this conference, there will be, excuse me, there will be members from school boards all over the country, and I will be a student panelist there. So I have a lot of experience with SGA and student advocacy.
Okay, thank you.
Is it okay if we go to our next candidate just for time?
Yes. Okay, and each candidate has 1 minute for each question. Okay. Oh, I accidentally turned my camera off. I'm sorry. Next is Jalil. Your first question is, describe your past leadership / SGA experience.
Can you repeat the question one more time? I'm sorry.
Describe your past leadership / SGA experience.
Okay. When it comes to leadership, during my during my 10th grade, I created the first chess club at my school, which was New Era Academy. Now I just created a multi-millionaire club at Digital Harvard that features entrepreneurship. And when it comes to leadership, I pride myself on my work ethic. That's why I started running my own business in landscaping. But when it comes to the SGA, this is my first year being part of them, speaking with them, being in the meetings. I haven't really been on the SGA before, but I do like that they make a lot of change at my school. So I'm definitely staying with them. But overall, I just like being different. I like seeing the world with a different eyes.
Your next question is, are we doing the next question?
No, we should just go to Brooke right now.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Brooke, your first question is, describe your past leadership / SGA experience.
Some of my past leadership would be from being the president of the Springboard Youth Advisory Board, SGA president, and also being a team lead during my summer internship at City Hall, working under Nick Mosby. Yeah, that's just about it. Yeah. That's it.
On to our next candidate, we have, thank you, Brooke. On to our next candidate, we have Camille. Your your question is, describe your past leadership / SGA's position.
Yeah, thank you. So I am the secretary at my school for the class of 2024. I have been for every election season since we got started. As secretary, I managed a lot of pretty essential informational and organizational functions. I ran our school's info forum where people could get in contact with their SGA members. And I also did things like organizing bus lists, organizing trips, consistently taking minutes at all the meetings. In addition to that, I've been working with the Poly SGA recently to help students adapt their SGA to the new policy JJA plans. And so when we talk about like enforcing student rights, I have a lot of experience with that. And of course, I've been on ASCBC for the past year, doing policy revisions, working on policy JJA, and also serving on the General Assembly Committee, where I've been helping plan General Assemblies and doing check-in and facilitating at General Assemblies. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Brooke. Oh, somebody raised their hand. Not sure. Oh, the hand's gone now. Our next candidate is Shamir. Your question is, describe your past leadership slash SGA experience.
Yeah, so I've been doing government work for a while now. I started doing lobbying work in DC back in middle school. And then this past year, I've been serving on the ASCBC Executive Board as the parliamentarian. So that's helping to provide the right structure for running meetings, for running GAs, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you, Shamir. The next candidate is Krishniana. Your question is, describe your past leadership slash SGA experience.
My past leadership and SGA experience would be being the treasurer of Western High School, also facilitating General Assemblies, and working with a nonprofit group setting up events.
Okay, thank you. Our next candidate is Seda. The question for you is, describe your past leadership slash SGA experience.
So I would say my start with SGA happened in 8th grade when I was elected as SGA president. And as we all know, 8th grade year was short-lived for most of us. Then I joined ASCBC, and I was, like this past year, I've been treasurer. I've also been the chair of the General Assembly Planning Committee, which means that I plan all the General Assemblies. And that's been most of my experience with that, but I've also been somewhat involved in city's SGA and planning and setting up for some of the events. And so, yeah, that would be my experience with SGA.
Okay, thank you, Seda. Our next candidate is Laura. Your question is, describe your past leadership slash SGA experience.
Well, my first SGA experience was last year when I was in 5th grade when I was elected vice president of Commodore John Rogers. So we learned there how to improve my speaking skills since I was still a rookie, right? I was still in elementary. And I especially learned how to advocate and listen to other students' voices. So that was really my first leadership and SGA experience.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Our next candidate is Jason A. Your question is, describe your past leadership slash SGA experience.
So for SGA experience, this is actually my first time. My school didn't really have didn't push SGA too strongly. I've always wanted to join, but I'm trying to fix that for the school this year. But my past leadership experiences, I volunteered for various school events like culture night, parent night, like I do those things. Also, I'm really good with communication. Like I always go back and forth to teachers, anything. I'm currently trying to start a debate club right now because I did debate for 2 years. And my school doesn't have one. And I'm also trying to revamp SGA so students can join and we can have elections because my school hasn't had an election since COVID year. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Jason A. Our next candidate is, or is that our last candidate? Last candidate, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So now we're like in the last couple of minutes, so I'm just gonna go over the important election dates. October 30th to November 2nd is election week. October 30th to November 1st, early voting. November 2nd is district-wide election day, and then November 6th, the elections will be announced on the city schools website. So these are resources for like the ASCBC election stuff. You can scan the QR code to get that. It has our voter guide, candidate videos in English and Spanish, information about the election process, campaign protocols, and opportunities to get involved. Thank you all for coming tonight, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We can go ahead and end the recording and the stream to the